Test, test. Okay, it's still doing that. Test, test, test. I don't think it's gonna.
Test, test, test. Test, test, test.
All right, everybody. Let's quiet it down. We are having some technical difficulties online, so they should have been here. Oh, they what? Oh. All right. So now we're back online, and we all talked it out. So everybody's good out there. We're going to leave it off to Mr. Turley, and he's going to present the Turley annexation.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the commission, and thank you for Alpine residents coming and hearing what we would like to propose. Had the opportunity to marry a Wyoming girl, and 20 years ago bought this property to bring her home. So today, just a brief agenda. I'd like to make sure we understand the annexation area details, and then just bounce down through the 3 laws that are applicable to what's been going on here, and then provide some other helpful information, some context, and then ultimately the zoning request. We want to make sure that we go through this at the pace that you're comfortable with, and please interrupt, stop along the way if I get on a roll. The area details, it's 46.35 acres plus or minus. There's 3 different owners, myself, my LLC, and my other LLC. Yeah, I'll show you that here in a second. I'll show you that. Yeah. So, and I don't want, and this pre-petition, is that an emergency alert? Okay, sorry. This was, the town has a very strict annexation process, and so ordinance 2024-001, there's these 7 different parts that we've addressed. The pre-petition conference was attended on March 2nd of this year. The pre-petition application was submitted on February 24th of this year. The pre-petition application fee was paid on March 2nd of this year. The noticing fee, we're advised that this noticing for the planning and zoning hearing didn't cost anything, and if there is a fee required, we'll know shortly. The annexation petition was submitted earlier. Alec, is there a question?
No, sir. I'm just trying to follow along and make
Gotcha. Great.
checklists are done.
The annexation petition draft was accepted after some revisions on May 8th. Our hearing tonight is the planning and zoning review hearing, and then the major annexation filing fee and deposit was paid back in March. So these are the requirements of the written petition, this is Wyoming State Code 15.1.403A. It requires us to provide this information. This is the easy stuff, so we'll go through this kind of fast. The first thing is, and I want you to know just how this slide's set up, so you can understand. There's an awful lot of information that I'm required to share, and I want to make sure that all gets shared. So under this 15.1.403A, one little I, we have to demonstrate, or we have to prove that it was signed and dated by a majority of the landowners owning a majority of the area. So the owners, the landowner percentage, and the acreage percentage, Alpine Property Holdings Group is one of 3 applicants, and they, own 0.5% of the ground. Premier Realty Investments is one of the other 3 applicants, and that entity owns 4.5%, which, again, that LLC is mine. And then Steve Turley is the 3rd of the 3 applicants, and the annexation requested property I own 95% of that, for a total of 100% of the landowners and 100% of the acreage involved. Absolutely. It's under 3 different owners, because accountant said at some point on the way, put it in an LLC. So we bought one of the properties in an LLC, and then the other property got bought in an LLC.
It's all right. We're gonna ask the questions later. Let's just get him through his program first.
Well, I thought he said we could interrupt.
No, he doesn't. You don't. He gets to follow. He doesn't run the meeting. He doesn't run the meeting. We run the meeting. All right.
And I'm sorry, Dan, if I misspoke. I meant that the commissioners interrupt me if they need anything. So here is it has to be signed and dated. So there it is, signed and dated. And the next 2 little I, capital A, the legal description. We have a 2-page legal description of all the properties. Sherville put it together for us, and that was included as part of our written petition. The request to be annexed. There it is. we requested to be annexed. And then we have to have a statement of ownership. So there's the ownership of all this, of all the different properties, and those were the deeds where the ownership changed hands. Finally, this map of the area, there's two different maps to build two different requirements. You'll see that this is the map to accompany petition for Turley annexation, and our property, my property, is the property in yellow at the bottom. And this is the advanced plat, which would be, if approved, that is what would be filed with the town and with the county recorder. Is there any questions on that? Or are we moving along? So in 15.1.402A, the council findings, these are required. So this is the section of the Wyoming State Code that we have to talk about: the health, safety, welfare, the other statutory requirements. So let's walk through this just one section at a time. And because the sections, if you'll notice on that upper left, that section has three different subcategories: health, safety, and welfare. Let me read it. Protection of the health, safety, and welfare of the persons residing in the Alpine, in the area, so that's the annexation area, and also in the town of Alpine. So breaking that down into three parts, I'd like to just address the health, and then we'll do safety, and then we'll do welfare. As to the health, it promotes public health by promoting the development with access to reliable culinary water and sanitary water service. If this were developed in the county, those wells and those septic systems wouldn't be part of the comprehensive infrastructure in the town. We think that's what this would accomplish by the annexation. The proposed development would be served by privately constructed water and sewer infrastructure, including private water mains and private sewer mains, at no cost to the town. When this was originally brought up, there was some initial concerns about who's going to pay for it all. The answer is not the town. It would all be paid for by our development. Those systems, bullet point number 3, those systems would also be privately maintained while still being designed, reviewed, inspected, and operated in accordance with applicable municipal engineering, health, and building standards. Built to the city's standards, but not maintained at the cost, or at the city's expense, but maintained by the development. Fourth bullet point, this approach helps protect Alpine residents by reducing the risk of inadequate wells, failing septic systems, groundwater contamination, unreliable water supply, and uncoordinated utility systems near the town. And then finally, annexation also allows water, sewer, drainage, and other infrastructure capacity to be reviewed as part of one coordinated development process.
Mr. Turley,
Yes, sir.
you need to speak into your microphone.
I apologize.
Thank you.
Finally, annexation also allows water, sewer, drainage, and other infrastructure capacity to be reviewed as part of one coordinated development process, helping to ensure that infrastructure is appropriately sized, safely constructed, and adequately funded before development occurs. Let's go to safety. Safety, I'm just going to power through this. Please stop me if you got any questions, commissioners. Annexation promotes public safety by placing the development within the consistent system of law enforcement, fire protection, emergency response, building code enforcement, and fire code enforcement. The future subdivision would benefit from professional law enforcement and fire protection, while Alpine would have the ability to require appropriate road access, emergency access, fire flow capacity, street design, addressing hydrant placement, and other public safety improvements that would not be available if it were not annexed and remained in the county. Third bullet point, the proposed private streets would be constructed and maintained at private expense rather than at the expense of the town. Even though the streets would be privately maintained, they would still be required to meet applicable standards for safe travel, emergency access, pavement, grades, turning movements, and fire apparatus access. Next bullet point, consistent building and fire code enforcement is particularly important in a foothill and wildland urban interface setting. Next bullet point, annexation allows the town to require and enforce appropriate construction standards, defensible space, wildfire breaks, vegetation management, emergency access, fire-resistant materials, and other wildfire mitigation measures. And finally, these requirements do not protect only the future homes within the development, but they also help reduce the potential for wildfire to spread beyond the development and threaten existing Alpine neighborhoods, residents, and public resources. Just so you'll know, when we talked to some neighbors, they brought up some really good points that right now there is no there's no fire protection up there on the hill. It's a natural setting, and we hope that the upon annexation that we would be able to provide that additional layer, that buffer for the town. Welfare. Annexation protects the general welfare by allowing Alpine to guide the development through its own zoning, subdivision, engineering, building, and fire safety regulations. Without annexation, development near Alpine could occur under fragmented or inconsistent standards with separate decisions concerning roads, utilities, drainage, emergency access, land use, and service delivery. It gives Alpine a direct role in determining how the property develops and allows the town to require safe transportation and emergency access, adequate utility and infrastructure capacity, compatible transitions to surrounding neighborhoods, appropriate setback, buffering, landscaping and open space, coordinated drainage and stormwater improvements, wildfire mitigation and defensible space measures, trail planning and public access connections, and compliance with Alpine's adopted zoning and subdivision requirements. This coordinated approach promotes orderly growth and reduces the potential for fragmented service delivery and incompatible development, inadequate infrastructure, or improvements that are not properly funded or maintained. The proposal also includes trail access, connecting towards adjacent game and fish lands, expanding recreational access, improving community connectivity, and help integrate the development into Alpine's broader trail and open space system. Finally, the proposed private streets, private water mains, and private sewer mains will be constructed and maintained without imposing those maintenance costs on the town. Next point. Development, and again, I apologize. I don't want this to be boring. There's a lot of information to cover.
The law has made it that way.
It has, and I appreciate your patience.
Please.
Thank you very much.
Not against you.
I'll carry on. So this is 15.1, 402A, 2 little I. Development area would constitute a natural part of Alpine. The natural part. The area shares Alpine's mountain setting, foothills landscape, vegetation, views, climate, and natural drainage patterns. The property is visually and physically connected to Alpine rather than separated from it by a major natural barrier. The roads leaving our property aren't going to any place else. The proposed development can preserve Alpine's natural character through open space, sensitive grading, landscaping, trail connections, and protection of important view corridors. Annexation would allow a single municipality to coordinate drainage, wildfire planning, hillside development, and environmental protections. The subdivision would represent an orderly extension of existing development rather than a disconnected development enclave. The geographical part of Alpine, the property is contiguous with, surrounded by, and immediately adjacent to Alpine. Its primary road accesses are through Alpine. The area is closer to Alpine neighborhoods and facilities than those of any other municipality. Annexation would create a more logical municipal boundary. Roads, trails, drainage systems, and utility corridors naturally connect the property to Alpine. Emergency services would access the property from existing Alpine routes, and the project is located within Alpine's natural growth area. Economical part of Alpine. The project would add taxable property value to Alpine. New residents would patronize Alpine businesses, schools, recreation, and community services. The developer would construct and fund required roads, utilities, drainage, and other improvements. Development fees, impact fees, and property taxes would help support local municipal services. The subdivision can be served efficiently as an extension of existing systems. Annexation avoids inefficient duplication of roads, utilities, public safety, or government administration. The project provides housing for people who work, shop, worship, attend school, or have family connections in Alpine.
Mr. Turley,
Yes, sir.
into the microphone.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
My apologies. I've left off someplace important. The proposed density helps distribute infrastructure costs and makes orderly development economically feasible. The project would broaden Alpine's housing supply without requiring the city to finance the private development. User fees, impact fees, and property taxes directly benefit Alpine. Additional residents provide additional local purchasing power, which supports the local economy. I'm going to pause here just for a second. I'm sorry, is that slow down? Yeah, sure. I thought it was interesting when we ran some numbers about the economic impact of each resident that would come in this new development. Numbers are estimated to be between $63,000 and $73,000 per family unit that moves in, and the ripple effect throughout this community multiplies that spending power, hiring additional people, providing more jobs. We modeled that, and we're pleasantly surprised about the benefit that that would provide as far as the economy goes. To the social part, residents will use Alpine's roads, parks, trails, schools, churches, businesses, and community events. The project is residential, not an incompatible industrial or regional commercial use. The homes and neighborhood design are consistent with Alpine's family-oriented residential identity. Residents are likely to have family, employment, school, religious, recreational, and social ties to Alpine. The development provides opportunity for children, young family, empty nesters, or others to remain near family in Alpine. And of course, help those children add to the population of the school. Roads, walkways, trails, parks, open spaces, and street connections can integrate the subdivision rather than isolate it. The project will be governed by Alpine's laws and participate in Alpine's civic institutions. Additional housing allows new generations to join or remain in the community. Let me just talk briefly then about, as to A3i, the area is the logical and feasible addition to Alpine, and the extension of the services will be available to the area. This slide is a concept. There's no roads that exist on that hill. There's no full-throated expectation that this will be the exact location. All those details will be figured out through geotechnical investigations. But as to the sewer, you'll notice that the heavy green lines that represent the sewer mains that are in Trail Drive. They also represent the sewer main that's over at the bottom of Sunset Drive. The yellow areas, both to the west, coming up Store Drive, and to the east, coming up Sunset Drive, would be extensions of the sewer main that would be that we would bear the expense for. So while the town would have the benefit of connecting new users if they wanted to along that route, all those costs to build those yellow extensions of the sewer service would be borne by us. So then the benefit, of course, would be that there's additional capacity that and to the sewer treatment plant. I've been informed that some of the sewer mains are perhaps underserved, and so part of the study that we would do for the annexation would be to involve right-sizing all those sewer mains, the existing sewer mains. Questions about this? Moving on. Water services. You'll notice the light blue lines. Those are the water mains, and the water mains service are available at both Lakeview Drive, Store Drive, Grandview Drive, and Mountain Drive. And those extensions of those water services would be done at our cost. And then finally, the access roads. So there are 4 points of access that touch our. I say our. It's just me. So that's the plural and the singular. So the roads, you'll see Store Drive is yellow on the west side, north and west. The light blue is on the west side is Lakeview Drive. It's a road that doesn't exist, but it's been platted to the town.
Mr. Tone,
Yes, sir.
grab your microphone.
Oh man, I'm sorry.
Just grab it.
I will.
And hold it up to hold it up to your mouth.
I understand. I tried to go on a diet, but. You want me to mess with it?
Don't mess with it.
Can I do this? Can I do this? Can I do this? All right. Yeah, that's great. Okay. I'm sorry. Am I gonna? Oh boy. I'm gonna put this on the front table if that's okay.
Hey, Mr. Charlie, when we're done, can you give us a PDF of this?
Yeah, and I had it all printed out, and it was
That
formatted
way we
wrong.
can put it on the website, and then
Yep.
everybody.
Yeah, and I will make sure that it's available for the town and for everybody else. So this is absolutely conceptual. This is absolutely conceptual. There's no roads that exist up there, and so.
PDF would really be much more than this is an artist concept and some architectural diagram that basically says that's what we think it will look like, but it will change dramatically.
I can tell you it will be better and safer, and it will and we will have scientists supporting everything that happens on that hillside. And so this was just meant to be a representation to show you hey, sorry, Troy. Now I block you.
Just
Okay.
keep her going.
All right. So the Lakeview Drive, the baby blue one to the west, that was designed to give access to the hillside. It appears when it was originally platted 50 years ago. The streets on the east side, Grandview, and then also on Mountain were though the existing roads, and we're not particularly thrilled with that Mountain Drive that stubs into the corner of our property, and so our thinking is in order to keep traffic off of Mountain Drive, it would drop straight down and connect to Grandview Drive. But those are the 4 access points to the property, and conceptually, those will be the access points. Where the road actually lies will be. We'll see when the engineers figure it out. There was a discussion. It was a fair discussion brought up by a neighbor about the roads and have they been publicly dedicated. And so these are the town requested that we provide that, and so we provided for Lakeview Drive, Store Drive, Grandview Drive, and Mountain Drive all the deeds that provided some kind of public dedication or public right of way to those 4 roads. What are we at? 15-1, 402A, and little I-4. I think that is what that is. Area is contiguous with or adjacent to Alpine. You'll see that at the bottom of that, it's the area boundary is contiguous with Alpine boundary for 2,300 feet. We're supposed to, the town is supposed to request that franchises will provide utilities. Lower Valley Energy has said that they will, but they were a little tough to get it to put it in writing. Not that they didn't want to, they just didn't return emails very well. Okay.
Not yet.
Okay.
Let him get.
I was going to ask why it was on maps if he has a topo map of that area as well.
We'll get to it. We'll get to it.
The ordinances and general plan regarding zoning. We, as part of this process, we enter into dialogue about the discussion of zoning. And I want to be really, really, really clear. And I'm sorry, I don't want to turn my back. When the number one goal for housing, according to the general plan that we talked about earlier, is to encourage a range of housing types to serve diverse household needs. That was the number one goal for housing. And so I don't want there to be any question about what we'd like to see up there. The R2 multifamily residential district. The purpose of this district, R2, is to encourage development of duplexes, townhomes, apartments, multifamily residential facilities that can provide housing for both short and long-term residents. uh, uh, we don't want to do duplexes. We don't want to do townhomes. We don't want to do apartments. And the word multi-unit residential facilities comes with some stigma that isn't my expectation. I wish I could do an R point or an R1.1. The zoning is designed. It's a dichotomy of R1 and R2. R1 is only single family, and yet the general plan screams for these diverse housing types. The purpose of the planned unit development that we want to be upfront. Our request is to the process is to permit and encourage the development of a combination of land uses that would not be possible via the permitted uses authorized within each zoning district where there is a demonstrable benefit to the town, and to permit and encourage the creative design of new residential areas that may vary from residential subdivisions of standard lot sizes and standard street systems. When the general plan says that the types of homes available don't fully match local needs, while there are some alternative housing types in Alpine, most homes are still single family. And then finally, residents expressed interest in expanding housing choices such as smaller starter and finisher homes, duplexes, triplexes, and other middle housing types while maintaining Alpine's character. I want to be very clear that the only thing that we want to do is residential. The only thing, and I want to walk through those 4 things list right there. Number 1, no residential dwelling development. There will be no residential dwelling development until geotechnical, slope stability, hydraulic, geologic, and seismic reports are complied with. No development, 0 development. Second of all, single-family residences only. We only want single-family residences, and yet you'll see from the pictures, I believe there's health in having attached single-family homes. While we think predominantly on that hillside will be single-family homes, will be the single-family detached like the lower left, those twin homes, as they're referred to, provide that alternative housing options that are that the general plan screams for. Private roads, sewer, and water infrastructure, all provided by the developer, and then maintenance of that private infrastructure and snow removal provided by the Property Owners Association. So I guess I want to emphasize that first line because I know that there's concern out there, and I don't want there to be concern any more than there has to be. I want to rely on the people that know a lot more than me. So again, there won't be any residential dwelling development until geotechnical, slope stability, hydraulic, geologic, seismic reports are complied with. That's it. Any questions?
All right. Thank you. All right, so here's how this is going to work. All right, just so everybody knows, we right now are going to start asking some questions, and then you are going to be given 3 minutes to comment per person, concisely, and if you have written an email to the town already, you have already spoken. Okay? You don't need to do, you're in the record. So just FYI. Rachel, what do you want? What do you want to say?
A lot of questions. I guess I would be interested to know how you considered emergency access to this area. You know, looking at the plans that we received, the roads are pretty steep, pretty windy. I mean, I know that's a concern of the community for the roads that are already up there, and then it's just extending it. You know, how realistic is it that it's going to be accessible for fire, for EMTs, for things like that?
Nothing. Great question. Nothing will be built without the authorization of the local building engineers or the local public works engineers and the fire marshal.
Okay.
So if the roads won't be built if fire apparatus can't access it. So I can assure you that that's a deal killer.
Yeah, and during our meeting, I believe in March, a former town engineer was here saying that, you know, way back in the day when they were designing the sewer system for the whole town, you didn't want to annex in at that point, so they didn't plan for this. Now you do, and you're talking about upsizing sorry. I feel like I'm yelling. You're talking about upsizing sewer. Is that, you know, what he was talking about, that the whole system isn't really designed for this, or are you just talking about upsizing sewer connections that's going to feed into a system that's not prepared for this?
I would, if we went back to that sewer one, let me see if I can get there really fast. The yellow sewer that we're going to build is at full capacity. It would accommodate everything. There's no more development that's going to happen. So it would be sized to handle that. And then I've been informed that the information is that they're trying to figure out right now what the capacity is for the existing stuff, and if it requires upsizing, we would have to do that at our expense. We would have to do that. And I want to speak to that discussion of annexation. Early on, when asked that question, I remember that conversation differently. We didn't have specific plans at that time to be involved, but I was assured by other town representatives that our property was always anticipated to have some kind of building on it, and that would be added to the capacity of the wastewater treatment plant. I guess we remember things differently, but anything that we would do this time around would make sure that those capacities work.
Got it. I was not part of that, so I remember nothing, but
You don't recall.
I don't recall. There you go. The legal way of saying that I was probably a child. I guess my other question is, why do you feel like R1 is not an appropriate zone here? You know, I think a lot of the concerns here are also related to density, and R1 would reduce the density and probably promote a development that's more consistent with what's already going on the hillside. And I know you said you would hope to be like R1.1, but what is it about R1 that you think doesn't fit your needs?
I'll be really, really specific. R1 does not allow attached single-family homes. But let me tell you how I think we can get there. And it's just a suggestion. I would like to build something that is very compatible with the fabric of Alpine. And you'll see the second thing it said, requested zoning designation and annexation agreement. I would agree contractually right now, and it would be a deed restriction against the property, that nothing else would happen except for single-family residences, attached and detached, just like that second line right there that says. And that annexation agreement runs with the property, and the city cannot authorize any permitting that goes beyond what that annexation agreement is. And R1, we've looked at it, but I got to tell you what, there's over $4 million worth of infrastructure that we have to put in there, and a lot of it is to the town's benefit, which is we get it. It's a benefit for us, and it's a benefit for the town. But that attached, those attached, some of those. I mean, take a look at the picture on the right. Take a look at the picture on the middle. Those are, I believe, very compatible with what's it's very available up there, and I don't think it detracts from what's going on. I would like that opportunity to build those, and I don't think that comes out of the blue. That's what the general plan screams. It screams. 85% of the homes in Alpine are single-family detached homes, and the ask in the general plan over and over again is more diverse housing types. We think this is a great opportunity to provide those.
You got anything?
Oh, well, you go ahead.
Mo, you still on the phone?
Yes, sir.
You got any questions?
No, I do want to say thank you for coming in. Some of the questions from our address, an extensive conversation about the, and we really appreciate the fact that you've recognized that you've recognized the fact that that is something that our citizens are concerned with, and that we're trying to rectify that. So we do appreciate that. I agree with Rachel. It's nice that they were R1s. I think that would alleviate some of the, about the density. Yeah, I appreciate coming in and making sure we have an open dialogue, that we can try to work together, and maybe we can come to an agreement with some of our citizens who are against this development.
It's part of the process. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir, it is. Thank you so much.
Do we call her Commissioner Mo, or she doesn't go by that?
Anything else, Mo?
No, not yet. I appreciate the slideshow though. That was pretty helpful on what the actual optics were going to look like on the conceptual plan. And like we said, I know Mr. Shelgren had contacted him years and years ago about this, and I apologize if there was some communication on whether or not there was ever going to be a development on this 40 acres. So hopefully, and it sounds like Mr. Turley was having the opportunity to take the time to figure out if that's something that the sewer plant can handle. If I recall, that's what I heard in his presentation. He would definitely have that conversation to make sure that was something our sewer plant would be able to handle as well. So I appreciate that as well.
All right. So I have a couple things. Leave that slide right there. Where the red line is, where the road is, where it ties into the lower side on the right-hand page. You purchased some pieces of property to get that to work, correct?
I own the homes that straddle to the east and to the west of that, yes.
And so, but there's some housing properties that you did purchase
Correct.
to try to get a road to go through.
That's correct.
You have not adjudicated any of those pieces of property.
I'm sorry, adjudicated?
You have not gone and rezoned those pieces of property.
No, sir.
They are still a piece of property.
That is correct.
So right now, this land right here is landlocked.
I would disagree.
No, you have not gone and replatted those pieces of property. Right now, they are tax-bearing instruments for the town of Alpine. Is that correct?
The annexation.
Because I know that we haven't seen it. You haven't come to us and said, I want to replat these pieces of property.
Let me then share the surveys were very, very poorly done in this particular area, and the argument could be made. The argument has been made that our property fronts on Mountain Drive. So you'll see that, and I don't. Can someone tell me, is that purple? Is that chartreuse? I don't know colors.
Well, all I know
magenta.
is there was a house there once. Is the house still standing? If the house is still standing, it is a tax instrument. Okay? It doesn't, regardless of what it is, it's a house.
No, I'm sorry. Mountain Drive fronts vacant property.
It's a vacant piece of property.
Mountain Drive fronts.
Do you
the
pay
vacant
taxes
property.
to Alpine for that piece of property?
No.
Do you pay taxes to the state of Wyoming for that piece of property?
We pay our property taxes.
Correct. You pay property tax on that. You have not created an easement through that piece of property.
Can I point, because I don't want to misunderstand.
I'm just asking the question. You're going to come through that piece of property that you own. This So if I look at that map right behind us, right here. Is that not the road?
Right, and touches
And it's going through the town of Alpine?
Right.
Right, so that's an Alpine road. And isn't there a house right there?
There's a house on the right side of the road. That lot, is there a few of you that know?
Well, I see, 30.
There is a house,
Getting older,
there is a
just
house
like
there.
you.
Yeah, that's right. So there is a house off to the side of the road.
And so you're, right now, that road, that lot is not defined inside that road.
Correct. It's basically the corner of the
Sir, before you answer your question, didn't you just stated that you were gonna use the other road below your two houses as an access, and now you're claiming something else?
Hold
Be
on,
able to wait
hold on.
until,
Hold on. I need a bigger plot map.
Would it be okay
have
if
a
I
bigger
brought up the
plot map?
property? I can do it on my computer.
I need a bigger plot map.
would you like him to bring it up on his computer?
Do you have a bigger plot map of that? I mean, we have one. No, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. We're not gonna use it. We have our own maps. No, it's not, because it doesn't have property corners and boundaries on it.
Dan, couldn't the same be said about the store drive entrance as well? You acquired that piece of property to get an entrance there.
Well, I'm just saying, if there is any piece of property that you are going to drive through that is listed as a town piece of property, doesn't matter. If it has not changed its land use development, if it has not changed from property to an easement and come off the rolls, you can't use it.
Then, can I, this is the survey, this is the plat map that, Surveyor Shribbles provided, and, I'm gonna speak loud. So this is Mountain Drive, right here, and as you see, it goes onto this piece here. That heavy dark line with the dashes is the boundary of the town of Alpine. The annexed boundary of the town of Alpine.
It's not gonna be far enough.
This road here does, you could drive right to here, and not impeded by any structure, any house, anything. The houses that we talked about are on lot 30, which you saw over here, which sits off to the side, has frontage on Grandview and has frontage on Mountain Drive. And then this home here, which has frontage off of Grandview Drive and doesn't touch Mountain Drive. So this is the official survey that I provide as part of my petition to demonstrate that there is frontage here. And I would like to add, as part of the platting process, I would like to add an additional connection down to Grandview if the town wants it. If the town doesn't want it, then it doesn't happen.
Hey! You guys aren't allowed to speak yet, because we're not done. Thank you. No. All right, relax. You get your time. Okay? Planning and zoning has not given any permission to move any road to any place. Don't bring it up again. All right?
Can you explain what the lighter line is below the darker line for annexation? Is that part of one whole property line, or? The dotted line? Yeah, the one that's right below the dark line for where your annexation. That one there, yeah.
I'm happy to ask any question that answer any questions that the commissioner wants.
Yeah, that's what I was asking if
I mean, unfortunately, thank you. I'm always being told where to go.
By a woman, yeah.
I'm not going to bring that up. Unfortunately, this is not the required survey that the planning and zoning is going to ask for when it comes to platting out this piece of property. However, hold please. This is the legal map that we go by. Okay, this is our town's map. Okay, that's not it. Okay, none of these are. So when we here and Mo on the phone, when we get together, we're going to review these maps and we're going to make sure that all of this is accurate. Right? So all of you can feel safe at home that Rachel and I and Mo are going to take your best interests in heart. Now, Monica over there will not let us not do this. So, okay, I get it's testy. I get it. However, there is a plan in place to go through all of these things. We have to follow that plan.
I also won't let them do that.
Thank you. As long as he has access from a private road, which is the town of Alpine Road, and he will not cross anybody else's boundary, we can't stop that. Doesn't matter, ma'am. We're not talking about that. We're talking about access. Okay, so he's here to petition for annexation. It's not a building permit. Okay, he's not going to start excavating. He can't do that. He's just asking for annexation. There is nothing that will happen. This is a PUD. If you guys are all this, you should be reading the Land Use Development Code, because there's very specific requirements for this developer that will make him brain dead when he's done, because he has to provide so much info to us, and we're going to keep requiring of stuff that he needs to bring. So nobody's hiding anything. Nobody's going to, bury it under a rock. We just got to know some things. If he has access and he's not crossing anybody's property to do it, he's free to do that. That's right, ma'am, but it's his property. He can ask. It's not your property. It's his property. Right? Now, I love Wyoming, and I love land use rights. I love it. It's what made Wyoming great. He owns the property. We're going to do our best interest for all of you to keep it going down the straight and narrow. We're not going to hide it from you. She would bite my head off. She would attack me in the middle of the night. She would kill me. She wouldn't pay me. And then he'd sue me. So I'm afraid of all of that. But I am very concerned about doing the right thing, just like all of you are. So if you let us do our job, we're here to protect all of you. You will be. Mo, you got anything else to add?
No, I think that's we definitely want to keep our things in mind, keep everything that we're doing, stay on this trail, and if there's ever any concern about transparency, you're always welcome to email us, and we'll do our best with the information we've got. So don't hide, not at the level whatsoever. We're trying to have positive growth and move forward. And just like Dan said, the Land Use Development Code is a challenge to read through. We read through it all the time, but it's definitely for how we are trying to make sure that this is a positive movement forward, so to speak. And as you get the chance, please, everybody go read the master plan as well. I guess I'm breaking up a bit.
You are breaking up a lot. I think it sounds like she has no more questions. She thanks everybody for being here, participating in the public process, and encourages you all to look at the draft master plan and the LUDCs, because that's why we're all sitting here, is because everyone needs to know what's going on.
Copy.
Mr. Chair, we have our engineer here from HLE, Scott Dressen. If you have any questions for him, he's a lot smarter than me.
You got any?
No, not at the moment.
No.
He'll be available after if there's any redirect of any questions.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
At this time, I'll open the floor to public comment. We ask that each speaker state their name for the record before speaking. Public comments will be limited to 3 minutes per person. The period will be for 30 minutes. Allow everyone an opportunity to speak. In the interest of time, we ask that speakers avoid repeating comments. And if you've emailed, you don't need to speak. Who wants to be first?
Set a timer on my phone.
Oh, are you going to be the timer?
I'm going to be the timer. Yeah.
She's the timer. That's. Well, thank you. We're going to start with Bob.
Okay, my name's Bob Lickfarb. And I don't know if the commission has read the 13 pages of scientific information I submitted. And it lays out the geology, the hydrology, the ecology, the faulting, seismic, everything that is involved in landslides, water movement, and disturbed water movements. And I just submitted today, I know I'm breaking a rule, but I compared the Grovon slide to this mountain. And this mountain has more factors that are associated with a slide than the Grovon slide. And so for me, and I appreciate the effort Mr. Turley's put into all this planning, and this has nothing to do with him, but why can't the town do a technical report, which most of us are not qualified to do, get certified geologists and hydrologists to evaluate that mountain and sign off before we play engineer games and retainer walls and then the hill slides, and we now have lawsuits, class action lawsuits, etc. As a safety, shouldn't we start with assessing the mountain and then proceed into how many houses, if it could even take any? And that's my comments.
I don't want to be a loudmouth. I'm tired of it. I apologize, Mr. Turley. I am not picking on you personally. My question is, what's the point? Right? I mean, what are you going to do? Put in, it started out 8, now it's 68. It's going to go on ad infinitum. The only reason I get uptight about it all is because I live right exactly in those spots that are going to be affected. And I don't want to move into a traffic jam. I don't want a freeway there personally. I came up here for quiet enjoyment. Okay? That was the whole idea of moving here. not to have some suburbia urban sprawl. And my question to you, and you don't have to answer it, what are you in it for? What's the point? What purpose is it? I mean, you're going to make all kinds of money, and I understand it's your property. It's none of my business. I'm not going to, I get it. I'm a businessman. The name of the game is profit. But the bottom line is it affects so many people. I think it's sort of indicative what's going on here. And we're caught right smack in the middle of it. We're caught on Pine Court. We're caught on Grandview. We're caught on Sunset. And it's going to be an absolute disaster. Now, maybe it's not going to happen today. And the other point that I would make is I can see one thing, non-stop construction from the time that you begin your development, and you haven't mentioned how many units. It started out as 8, now it's 60 plus. So with all that being said, I mean, with all due respect, sir, but I think you need to put ourselves in our position. It's going to be a mess. Our kids are going to have a mess. The road's going to be a mess. Winter is a disaster up here. I've been up here 40 years. Trying to get up Sunset is a lot of fun, especially when all the people that are renting houses come up in their two-wheel drives and get stuck. And then they start sliding down and bang into people, okay? I mean, I think you need to consider it and maybe take a look at another view, in my opinion. But again, this is in respect to you. It's your property. You can do whatever you want with it within your bounds and within your legal limits. But take consideration of us and what we're going to have to go through. 700, 800 cars a day in and day out, up and down that hill, one ingress, one egress. I think you need to think it through. Thank you.
All right, everybody. So these questions are not for Mr. Turley. They are for us. So direct the board. Come on up and state your name. Hold on. You got to do it at the microphone.
Shannon Wendricks.
Thank you.
Thank you. This is the latest infographic thing that the town put out on their Facebook page today. Okay? I'm just curious if this is true or not. Does the town know? Because the confusing thing here is we're supposed to be evaluating the annexation of the land, not the plans for future development.
Correct.
Now, we're already at a point in this process where we've heard, and they have changed every time he comes in here and talks to us, what his plans are. So is this just some AI crap that the town posted? Or is this the actual process? This was on Facebook today.
That is the actual process.
Okay, then why are we talking about?
I'm going to explain that to you if you give me a moment, because I know where you're going. You're going to ask why they're even evaluating. Thank you. That's a good idea. I appreciate that. So when the ordinance number 2024-001 was adopted, it was because council felt that the process should have just one more public vetting. And so this process was developed by town council to allow the public to come in and look at all the information that would be submitted to the town clerk as part of the actual annexation process. After that ordinance was passed, and I'll be honest with you, I did not read the changes to the land use development code that were adopted after that. However, there was language put in the land use development code that requires to commingle development and annexation. The process was done to allow public to respond to the public request to just be able to talk about it again or one additional time. So the reason the development concept plan has been submitted is because we internally, staff, read this in preparation for the annexations we've done since the previous planning and zoning administrator isn't here anymore. We have a new staff member who has read the law, who is, developing her own processes. And she said, look, it says that this needs to be submitted. And I said, then it needs to be submitted because that's what the law says. And so there was that, it's a land use development code requirement, not a state statute or a town ordinance
Okay, so
process.
the issue that I see right now is that everybody is getting up in arms over whatever he's claiming he wants to do with that land right now, which is not even approved. According to this, that's a totally separate process. Now, can the town annex the property and tell him, too bad? No, you can't do those things?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Is it a little weird that we already know what you want to do when we're not supposed to? I mean, it makes the whole thing a little uncomfortable for everybody.
We're
Let's
trying
be
to
honest.
be as transparent as we possibly can because that's better than the alternative.
I agree
So,
with you about
so
transparency.
it is really only about the annexation. We're all human. We're driving our car. Yeah, I'm going to go around the corner. Well, what else are we going to see?
A kid walking down the hill in the snow?
However, it's just about annexation. And this is what might happen.
Okay, so are we, when we're looking at it as strictly as a potential annexation, shouldn't we be talking more about the features of the land itself than his proposed projects,
We should be talking about just the annexation.
which would be like the land and the requirements to incorporate that land into the town,
Exactly.
more so than
His
dream
program.
or whatever.
Correct.
Okay.
100%.
And
So-
if I may too, I'd like to think about it in about two phases. The first phase is this phase, which is the pre-application phase. This is us making sure that he has his ducks in a row enough to actually just apply for an annexation. After this, he actually gets to apply. And that's kind of where we're at this stage, is making sure that he actually has a plan enough for us to even consider.
Okay. It's a little confusing on this side because there's been several meetings already and his proposals have changed. If I'm not mistaken or remembering incorrectly,
Not so much.
they
But
have
it's not so much.
they have gone from I don't know what I'm going to do up there to now I'm going to build 52 unit something. Okay. So, are we going to discuss or hear about or present information regarding the property and its value as a property being annexed into the town?
We're not going to talk about that. What we are going to talk about is it's his piece of property, and he wants to annex into the town. Once he does that, and if we make a recommendation to the council, and they accept that with our pieces that we've put in there, that would be Mo, Rachel, and myself, and we're going to give them some points that they got to follow.
Determining that that's a good idea
It's a very good idea.
is what you're saying.
Yeah. And then he gets to submit for a building permit under a PUD. And if you guys really want to read your land use development code and find out what he's got to do for his PUD, everybody will be safe on that hill. Then read your land use development code.
So
Because
is there
there's
one more, sorry, I'll end my turn here in just a second. One more question. Is there one more opportunity for the public to come in, voice concerns, and ask questions?
With the council, yes, August 4th,
With the planning and zoning or with the council?
with the council.
Okay. After this meeting.
So the process, the legal process is, after this meeting, he will have fulfilled, regardless of what their report says he has fulfilled his statutory local ordinance requirement to do the pre-annexation process. He then is legally, by our laws, allowed to submit a petition to annex to the town clerk as statutorily required by the state of Wyoming. And he will then do the process that is a state process.
That is correct.
So that is not on the 4th next month, we're going to have another meeting. That is, there's a very lengthy process. I have to determine that his annexation is complete. I then have to schedule a hearing, and that has to go before council by resolution. And then I have to draft an annexation report. And when the annexation report, looking at all the findings as required by state statute, is complete, then it is presented as evidence in the hearing that will be had to petition town council to annex.
So if it gets annexed and there's problems, who is responsible? The council and the state?
So problems with what?
Like a landslide
So if
and homes
there's
that
a
are
landslide
downhill.
tomorrow, whose problem is it?
Well, if you're talking about building something uphill from the homes that are existing,
We're not.
So what we're talking about is annexing raw ground, and that responsibility doesn't change by what municipality it is in. Now, on the backside of development, that may be different, and I can't answer that. I'm not a lawyer.
I would say
So
that
you
would
can
be
bring
pure
it into-
speculation, so it'd be tough to.
you can bring it into town and there's no promise of any development.
There's no promise.
It might never, ever be built on.
But why would the town annex the property then?
Well, don't you think it would be healthy for us to control the path of that, or would you like Lincoln County to control the path?
I think he can do less with the property, can't he?
No.
I'm not sure.
So, just FYI, we have all of you. We understand. And thank you. We're not gonna like, throw caution to the wind.
People have grand ideas and
Sure.
egos.
But that's not what.
And there's money to be made. Let's not be stupid about
But
it.
we're not making any money. We're here to help.
Not that we know of.
We're protecting. State your name, sir.
My name is Donald Cribbins. I live on Grandview Drive. I've been there for 27 years or so. There's a real bottleneck from Grays River Road up to Grandview Drive. And if you go the other way and come out down by Terrace Drive, it's so narrow you can't hardly get two cars. There's that stretch of road there that they're going to use, and it won't take the traffic we have now. Plus, there's 48 lots still on that hill that haven't been developed, and they will be developed. So there's that much more already approved. 48 lots up there undeveloped.
Thank you.
My name's Kathy Mitkowska, and I live up on Mountain Drive, and I appreciate you guys bringing it back to being like, hey, this is the legal requirements of what this annexation and what we have to go through. I actually took a picture of what the application that he had to do, and being going through, and I mean, I agree, it's a logical thing for that, if it's going to be annexed, for that to be residential development. But when it goes down to the second and it wants to start talking about the benefits to the town and anything that gets annexed, I feel like the current residents of Alpine should be the top of the list of whether this is going to benefit us, not just the future residents. People are going to move here, and we all moved here. So I'm not against development. I'm not saying that not in my backyard. It's going to happen. It's going to be here, and I agree that you guys, with all of this, like trying to have thoughtful development of what we're doing. So that one there with the benefits. We also want to take a look at what are the detractions of this going up there. And some of the detractions that I mean, all of us know all the density on that hillside, but also looking at the wildlife corridor that is naturally there. And all of the density that we have now and having the issues with the wildlife that we do now, let alone adding 50 more houses. And I appreciate you bringing up why not R1, because everything else on that steep hillside is all designated as R1. So adding R2 to that, you're kind of mixing the uses there, and there's a reason that it's all R1 up there and not the R2 that you would like to see developed, because the density is not, that land is not ready for the density. You're adding too much infrastructure, you're adding too many different disturbances to the land that is already having it, that can already be potentially a big issue. And I appreciate bringing up the fact that the developer is going to be footing the cost for all of these increases, but how far down the line are you going to be doing this? If it is something that, okay, great, you put in all the mains up here, and now we have an issue that happens on the other side of the road because of the increased capacity, are you going to fix everything from the top of the hill all the way to the water treatment plant? How far does that go down the road, and how do we know? The only thing I haven't heard brought up is our water capacity on the hill long term. If we're looking, like he said, there's 48 lots that could still be developed. If there's 48 lots that haven't been developed that are already there, are we taking away potential water from residents that have already been approved and annexing and bringing in 100 and some potential units and looking at that capacity of our water system to deal with that long term? Like what do we have in place to be able to take a look at those things? Let's see here. I tried to go through line by line, and one of the things, it says is it a logical and feasible annexation to the town? 100% it's logical. It's right there. It's right attached to the town. The feasibility of it is, I mean, it's non-compliant with a lot of the things that are going to be going on. And you want to talk about how it's going to be the diversity of housing, which is great. Our valley needs more housing. We all know that. There's a shortage everywhere. Those are not going to be homes for working class. Those are going to be multi-million-dollar homes that are going to be brought in by people that's, yes, they'll add money to the economy, but they're not going to be part of the community, which is what we're trying to build here, is more community. So I appreciate you taking the time and bringing up a lot of the points that you guys did. It was great to hear that you guys had the same concerns.
Joe Openshaw. Topo map question. Steepness of that hill, degradation of that. Go talk to Walgreens in Jackson. $11 million Jackson paid for one house. And that's only because the hill slid, because the engineer, Jorgensen, I think, did the engineering on it, said it was okay. And it slid. I think that we need to look into that. The other side of that is density. What is if we do annex it, and I'm all for growth, development. If we don't grow, we're stagnant, we die. But what is the density? Is it going to be R1? Is it going to be 6 units per acre? Is it going to be 1 unit per acre? When I did my development up here with just 6 units, I tried to get 6 units in. They wouldn't let me have it. I put 4. It was a big development. It was a fight to get 4. And I had to extend 12-inch water line, or not 12-inch water, 12-inch sewer mains and a 4-inch water main for a mile for 4 units. The developer needs to be aware of the forest that he abuts to. We've got a lot of animals up there that are endangered. Does he have his EPA? And he's required to do a 5 and 10 year plan. Has he got his 5 and 10 year plan in? Has Jorgensen done that for him? You know, we've got ants up there that are endangered. There's a squirrel up there that is an endangered squirrel. Want to stop a project real quick? I'll call ADA. You know, it'll take about a heartbeat, and the federal government will be down on you so fast, you won't know what time of day it is. Problems are that we are on a very, very, our ecosystem is very fragile. We just need to protect it.
Hi, Meta Dittmer. Thank you for letting us speak and be part of the process. So a couple things. One, roads. So in the LUDC, there is a minimum of a 60-foot road to enter a subdivision. Am I correct on that? I read it off the website. So I think it's important that Turley knows that if he does annex this, he doesn't have a way to access if he builds a subdivision there. So he may say, I have a hardship, I need to access this for my subdivision, and then we're going to battle that out, but I don't see a safe way to extend the width of those roads without coming right up to the front door, right, of people's houses. And also, you know, talking about on one of your bullets, it was health, safety, welfare, you know, of the residents. And I see quite the opposite, you know, on those narrow roads, increasing the traffic, making the roads wider, whatever you do, there are kids walking up and down those roads. So it is not helping us, the existing residents here, as far as safety, health, and welfare. It may benefit the new residents, but not us. So that's just one question I have that he should know. You're not going to be able to access a subdivision with the existing roads. And I understand this annexation process, you want to make sure he can access it at all, right? And so when you say, okay, through this road, you can just barely access it, but that's just you. That's not accessing subdivision. Am I correct?
It's, right now, it's just a property.
Right.
Excuse me, I'm getting fanned again.
Yeah. Yeah.
He is just annexing a piece of property, right? So he is, it's just, he's entering, it could be a trail, okay?
Yeah.
Nothing has happened with this property yet.
Yeah.
We
Right.
haven't even annexed it yet.
Totally. And so you're just like, all right, you can access it on this narrow road, but you're not saying you'll be able to access it and turning it into a subdivision,
And
just so we know that. Right.
And
just so
remember,
we-
those roads might not, what we've seen
Right.
might not be there because he might find that there is another plausible way to put the road in,
Right.
right?
Right. Right. So, like, if he remained in the county, right, he'd have the same problem. It's still a 60-foot wide road required.
I'm not so sure that Lincoln County looks at it that same way.
That's what's in the writing, but like maybe they don't look at it the same way. So then, you know, just like why does he need to access it? If it remains R1, these are 5-acre minimum lots.
That is
No
correct.
way, I'm not out of time yet.
You're negative. You've hit
No,
the negative zone.
you talked for a good minute of my time, but put a minute back in there. So if they remain
An
R1,
attorney.
R1, 5-acre lots is way better, you know, character up there. But I suspect that one of your quotes was the density is because the infrastructure is going to cost so much to make it economically feasible. I need this density, right? So then I wonder, how many lots do you need to have to make it economically feasible? And could there be, if he does annex it, could there be, you know, like, okay, you can only do this many lots. You can't build as many as you want, just enough to make it economically feasible. I think the diversity of housing, we've already seen so many apartments go up. I feel like we're like losing the character of our town already with all the apartments that have gone up. So I don't feel like we need more of this multifamily stuff.
Thank you. Thank you.
Pippa Wendricks.
Real quick, I know it's hot in here. Does anybody need any water? I don't want anybody passing out. Everybody's good? Raise your hand. There we go. If you need water, let us know.
Pippa Wendricks. I'm here to show a lot of concern for the children and families that live up on that hill, because I know that if we were to annex and let's say he does end up building condos, there's going to be so much traffic, and like during the winter times, the roads are so steep and slippery that if you're going even a little too fast on the road, you could slide straight off and go into like a ditch or straight into a tree. And it is not safe to have 600, 700, 800 plus cars going up there day and night on their schedules. And there's so many like children that play, ride bikes, walk down to the school bus every single day, that even around the corners, it is a blind spot where you could possibly be like hit. I know for a fact that I've nearly been hit by a car close to 4 or 5 times. And like even during just really bad weather, it is very unsafe to have that many cars or people just going up and down those roads. I think that the safety of the community should come over approving all these different housings and condos. I'm just concerned about the safety of families, and yeah, that's
Good evening, Council. My name is Christina Ryman, and I appreciate you hearing me. I have my notes here. I stand before you respectfully to ask that you recommend denial of the Turley annexation proposal. Before I continue, I want to make it very clear that this is deeply personal for my family. My husband and I own a house on 185 Store Drive, which is directly below Mr. Turley's proposed project and annexation. You can literally stand in my backyard and look quite literally straight up, almost vertical, and see pretty much in the middle of the area is where all the homes would be. And when I say straight up vertical, I mean pretty much straight up vertical. This isn't about being against growth. Growth is inevitable, and when it is planned responsibly, it can benefit an entire community. But growth should never come at the expense of public safety, existing homeowners, or long-term stability of our town. The property proposed for annexation has raised significant concerns that deserve more than a passing glance. The available information identifies steep terrain and documented geologic concerns that warrant extreme caution. These concerns have been serious enough that additional studies and information have already been requested during this process. As members of the commission, your responsibility is not simply to determine whether land can be annexed. Your responsibility is to determine whether it should be annexed based on sound planning principles, public safety, and the long-term interests of the town of Alpine. I ask you to consider, which I'm sure you already have greatly, what additional burden could this place on our roads, emergency services, water systems, and infrastructure? This one's important to me. What happens to homeowners who already live directly below this development if the slope becomes unstable? Again, I'm just going to bring up Walgreens because I'd like to be on record saying that. That's my house. That's people that I love that stay there and live there, including my 6-year-old granddaughter who comes to visit a lot. What changes could increased runoff, drainage, excavation, or construction have on the homes beneath it, like mine? Who bears the responsibility if those risks become reality? And perhaps most important, are we absolutely certain every potential hazard has been fully understood before recommending this annexation? For my family, these are not hypothetical questions, Every heavy rain, every spring thaw, and every construction activity on that hillside is going to have the potential to affect the property where I live. I have invested my life, savings, and my future into this home, and we should not have to wonder whether development uphill can jeopardize everything that I've worked for or my 6-year-old granddaughter's safety. Thank you very much for hearing me. I appreciate it.
My name is Bojan Mitkovski. I live on a mountain drive. There was a lot of hypocritical sayings here tonight, and we're going to address some of them. We're going to start with a couple of houses that Mr. Turley owns and that were mentioned as a possible access, but that's going to be up to the Planning and Zoning Committee to decide on that. So let's talk about promises of housing for employees and stuff. 2 of his units are listed on Airbnb right now. One fits 14 guests and another one fits 7 guests. The one that fits 7 guests, it's one room is listed as a shed. So when that was permitted by the town, that was not a structure, livable structure. That was,
Excuse me.
yeah.
We're here to talk about annexation.
Sure. Okay. So
Okay?
let's.
Not about houses.
Okay. Let's do that.
All right.
So let me just tell you the impact and the annexation and one of the minutes with the annexation process. So I'll flip it back. Let's go back to annexation. So in the process of annexation, in the draft petition under 5A states that the annexation of the area proposed to be annexed protects the health, the safety, and the welfare of persons residing in the area of town of Alpine. And this is where it gets complicated. So if you have unregulated clown show where a house used to have 2 or 3 people living in it, and now they're going to tell you, hey, we want to annex that, anybody that has brains will be like, okay, let's calculate impact on the roads. How many people are we going to have there? Well, you cannot calculate it, and I'll tell you why. House that used to live 1 person, like Jim, now it's Airbnb for 7 people. So how do you calculate the impact of traffic? How do I calculate when my daughter and people are walking from the bus stop to my house on a street that doesn't have even a sidewalk, and now we're going to increase the impact? And now, again, we're spinning the wheels, as Shannon mentioned. You want to annex extremely dangerous landslide area, and you don't want to talk about what you want to develop, and you want to do calculations. You want to do calculations that it's safe for the people to live there, right? So again, my question is, how do you calculate traffic to make it safe? How do you calculate usage of water, as Kathy was saying? How do you calculate the potential geostability when you pump grout in this mountain, and how can that potentially affect the water? Has anybody talked about it? Has anybody told you what it takes to stabilize a mountain? Well, I did it for 6 years. I've been on a project that in one hole, I've put 2 pallets of grout. Do you know how many holes of stabilizing soil nails need to be in this mountain to stabilize it? Does anybody know, for underground water and people drinking underneath that hill, who will get that grout? Is it going to be a high tension mesh? We don't know, because we don't have answers. We just have ideas. So if anybody lies to you that they can tell you that this is safe on a steep hill like that, they're just lying to you, I'm telling you right now. Because they're not giving you a design, they're not giving you any research, no geological. There hasn't been drilled a single hole to tell you what the cuttings of these mountains are. Is it a rock? Is it a soil? Is it a clay? What is it? How are you going to tell me that for the lady that just spoke? Let's say another thing, middle of stabilizing, you cut the roads, and before you even start putting soil nails, you have a massive rain that happened 2 weeks ago in Cody and destroyed the mountains there and the roads. If that happens in that stage, you guys are in trouble that are on the bottom of the hill. I'm guaranteeing you. You guys are in massive trouble.
Your time is up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So,
all right, we got time for one more person.
I'd like to tell you why we're all here for annexation. It all starts with court case.
Can you introduce yourself, please?
I'm Jennifer Nilsson. So we're talking about civil action 2023-CD93. And this is where Mr. Turley said that all the lines up there were wrong, that it was not properly surveyed, and that he owned land that he did not own. Lincoln County shut him down and said he couldn't have what he wanted. We got attorneys, and they ruled with prejudice in this case. I have these if anybody wants copies, and said, you know, you don't own that. So he can't do what he wants to do in Lincoln County. They won't allow him to. But if we annex him here, then he can.
Sorry, I know you only said one more, but my name's Adam Shuey.
You're just one more.
Okay. I'm not just a homeowner here, I'm a business owner here, and I am the very top house on Store Drive. And I've been there longer than most people in that area, and I've watched a lot of my neighbors come in and out of that area. I will be very much affected, so will my 8-year-old daughter, because I am a year-round resident. And so, also I'm from Jackson at the same point. I've lived down here for a long time because I wanted to get out of the mess of Jackson. I insured a lot of the companies that were around Walgreens. So I know the Budges very well because I'm, once again, from Jackson. And so the thing is that this affects me a lot. You know, I'm also one of the people that got sued for all of this. So I have a lot going on with all of this. And when the landslide happens, because obviously everything is a what if, and it's not being looked over properly, my house is the first house to get taken down. So I will tell you, I drive my trucks up and down that road day in and day out, every day. I know what the mess is in the wintertime. I deal with the mess because, once again, I'm the very top house, so I use both sides of that road. So whatever is going to happen here is going to happen. But I just want to make sure that you guys are actually going to make sure that Alpine is taken care of. That road is going to be properly taken care of, because in the winter, I mean, I drive big diesel trucks and everything, and I still deal with issues on that road. So it affects me a lot, whatever he decides to do there, once you guys allow him the ability to do that. So, thank you.
No, I believe he addressed it at the beginning of the hearing. However, if you'd like to expand, you may.
Sure. What's your question?
Bill Sachs. I'm running for mayor in town of Alpine Council. Senator, I'm glad you're here tonight.
Sure. Not a senator, but thank you.
Oh, behind you.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were talking to me.
But you can raise that flag if you like.
Sorry.
Alec, you're getting just a little bit ahead of yourself.
Yeah.
My bad.
So, Mr. Attorney, I have a question. I'll have a legal question for the record regarding the Turley annexation petition review hearing. Mm-hmm. The town stated that the ordinance 2024-001 establishes a local pre-petition review process that occurs before the formal Wyoming annexation process begins. I understand that's the town's position. However, at tonight's meeting, the Planning and Zoning Commission is reviewing the applicant's presentation discussing the proposed annexation and requested zoning, evaluating the proposal and directing the preparation of a written pre-petition review report containing the findings and recommendations to the town council. Could you please identify, for the record, the exact section, subsection, or language in the ordinance number 2024-001 that authorizes conducting this substantive pre-petition review without certified mail notice to adjacent property owners that is the town's legal, and if that's the town's legal position? I'm not asking for the town's interpretation. I'm simply asking for the specific ordinance language upon which the town relies. If there is no specific provision, would you please state that for the record?
Yeah, there is no specific provision. Basically, the formal notice comment mechanism is applied to the state statute. There is no requirement for any public notice for this particular hearing. There is no requirement for public comment. There is no requirement for public notice. It could be argued that there is one for the general public notice, which was gone over at the beginning of this hearing.
Okay. So, and beyond that, I just wanted to say, everyone in this room knows, and they can take Mr. Turley for a tour. I don't need to go to Walgreens up in Jackson. We can just go right up the Grays.
Sure.
These mountains love to slide. They're going to slide. And you don't have to touch them for them to slide. If he goes up there and starts messing with that land, he's going to destabilize it. It's just that simple. You know, he can, if he wants to pay for an exorbitant amount of money to have a geological company come in and guarantee that, there's nobody in this room who's going to tell you they'll accept that guarantee that that mountain won't slide.
Yeah, nobody can guarantee anything happens.
I understand that. But all you have to do, if he wants, Max will probably take him for a tour, I'll take him for a tour. We'll ride around the backcountry here, and I'll show you where no one touched the mountain and it slid.
Sure.
So I just want that on the record.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If you do, I'm not a lawyer.
I might be able to answer. Can you speak into the microphone? Sorry.
So as I understand, contracts are force majeure, which is no liability. In other words, if I order product from XYZ and it comes in on board a ship and the ship sinks, I'm SOL, the contract's done. Is there a force majeure clause in this whole situation?
Force majeure usually applies to relationships between contractually related parties. This isn't necessarily how everyone in this room is related here today. It's several independent municipalities and sovereigns that we're allowing to govern us and our land use. So force majeure wouldn't necessarily apply. That's more with, let's say, an act of God happened on me when I was supposed to, supply you goods and I couldn't do it, so you couldn't hold me liable. So the relationship is just kind of at its base differently.
Well, the way I understand it, it's contractual. And if, let's say, Mr. Turley or whoever annexes that and there's a real serious problem, can they just walk away?
So that is not going to be a contractual issue. It's going to be a kind of more civil liability issue, and I would have to direct you to your own legal counsel and the multitude of potential parties that could be liable if something catastrophic happened and whose decision it ultimately was. But no, the relationship here is going to be based in the United States Constitution down to the Wyoming Constitution and the Wyoming Constitution's authority granted upon the state to govern our land use.
Thank you.
Yep.
With the annexation, last week, I'm not going to bother. I think it's going to help you guys as well. I'll be 10 seconds.
10 seconds, you said. Start the timer.
Okay. I just have a legal question for everybody involved in this process. Is everybody aware about the submission of paperwork of our neighbor Dave Gustafson about the legality of some of the 4 roads that are mentioned in this paperwork? They claim that they're public, and I want to clarify if everybody is on the same page that he claims that 2 of the roads, actually the paperwork is not clear.
The attorney already has this stuff.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, so this woman very much intrigued me when she said he already applied to the county and they said he cannot do this subdivision. That is critical. Yes. Okay, so just what I want to impress on you guys is you're like, this is just an annexation. It's not approving this development. But it sounds like This annexation allows this development to happen. If it was not annexed, the county would not allow it.
It doesn't say that.
True, sorry.
We are just here
Sorry.
to annex the property.
Yes, but it gives the possibility. If we annex it, it is possible that he can twist your arms and get it. If it's not annexed, there's no way.
We're going to close the public hearing. Thank you. We have other business to attend to. If you guys want to stay for the rest of what Rachel and I have to do, that would be great. But you are free to leave. You are not, you know. Wow, we couldn't think enough here. We're going to call a recess.
How do you purchase property legally? Anyone can buy property for any reason. So it doesn't matter why you bought it. Does it matter why you bought your house? That's my wife. Yeah. Not really. You should listen to her. No, I just, if he had to, so, and expose why he did that. Maybe he might have to. He's still subject, and again, this hearing has nothing to do with the development at all. Right. We kind of just gave you guys the opportunity to talk. This is just if his application was filled out correctly. So there's nothing being decided tonight other than if his application was filled out correctly. I realize that's what I had. Yeah. If he didn't have bought those properties, he would not have it.
All right, if you're talking, go outside, shut the doors. We're about to start the meeting again. Please. All right. Did you? I think it's just with conditions that we see.
I think, yeah, at this stage, he can submit an application.
It's amazing. Okay, I got confused. Anything. Bill Sack. Bill. Bill Sachs. Shut the door. All right. This bar is closed. Thank you very much, team. All right. Let's go to new business. Hey, Mo, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Wow,
Can you hear me?
you're a trooper.
You're a trooper.
Yeah.
Mo. You are a trooper. All right. I'm going to move to new business. Review the annexation. The review submitted by Alpine Property. I think we kind of did that. You don't have anything to add, do you, Mo?
No, sir, I do not.
Yeah, so even if you did, we probably wouldn't be able to hear you. So.
Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you okay right now.
We can hear you fine
Yeah.
now. You're probably not
I
running
can't.
around.
It's pretty hit or miss before.
I haven't moved for 2.5 hours. I don't know how it can be hit or miss.
Yeah.
So I need a motion to move the annexation into a minor or major. So you want to move?
I'll make a motion to move the annexation into a major annexation.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. Let's approve the minutes. Did you read the minutes, Mo?
I did, yes, sir.
Do you have any changes?
No, sir, I don't believe so. Why do I feel like this is a trick question?
It's
Did I miss
no,
something?
No. How about you, Rachel?
No questions on the minutes.
All right. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll approve the minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Town council assignment.
When is it?
It's Jill.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Oh, hey, there you are.
Mo made the motion. I seconded.
I did. Yep.
When's the next council meeting? August 4th.
I should be there.
You good for that? Okay.
Sure, why not?
All right. So Mo Wilson is going to do council representation, and
All right. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
No.
No, wait. We're not. Oh. Just kidding. Not.
Sorry.
oh, she's going to slide something in.
So you have the second half of what you need to do tonight, which is contained under new business. And so, yes, you had to determine whether or not it was a major or minor, but you also have to determine that you have the submittals, you have to review the zoning, and you need to make recommendations and authorize Gina to draft a report to town council on your behalf.
Wow.
So,
We'll be here for an hour.
Yeah. Well, we do have all the submittals. Alec confirmed that.
Correct.
So we know that. Otherwise, I guess what our motion has to contain our zoning recommendation.
Correct.
No, it doesn't need a recommendation. The ordinance does require you to review the zonings that they've asked for. So I think that means, in my mind, and Alex, you can expand that. But I would say you should discuss it.
I would say that there needs to be a finding that the pre-application report met all criteria, that all submittals were submitted, all fees have been paid, and that an application is allowed to be submitted. I think that's about it.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, because you already determined it was a major.
Correct. And so what we need is a motion to move to the council that we could draft a report with Gina on some of the recommendations that we found here this evening, yours and mine.
Essentially, that the criteria of the pre-petition process has been met.
Mm-hmm. So if I were to say I don't find the R2 is an appropriate zone for this, but I'd recommend R1, is that something that would go in this motion?
I don't necessarily think so. I think that it's purely if he fulfilled the criteria of the pre-application process.
Correct.
Okay. Okay.
Uh-oh.
What was that?
Well, Monica?
Sorry.
Wait, what's wrong? Mine.
Hold on a second, Mo.
Oh, it wasn't? I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
We have an issue.
Yeah.
See, we're providing direction of the planning. Direction. So,
Yeah,
I
like
don't.
comments regarding requested zoning, like, so I would think that I would say something
Correct.
about that.
You know, Rich, I really liked your idea about motion about the R1, if that's a possibility. Or even let's put it in the comments.
I have no idea what you just said, Mel.
Oh,
Hey, where'd you get that?
sorry.
Sitting here. I
They
think
do all that.
one of
It was
the
before, but I think it said maybe need to zone
Maybe I only have
and
that.
make a recommendation.
Oh, that's that one.
Yeah.
That's this one. No. It's this one. Which we did, but this is this.
Yeah, so
Which we did.
they have to make a
Here's the major asset, to provide direction to the planning and zoning minister. So it
and
is,
criteria that's in there.
if we make the motion of,
So
we don't see pathways,
this is the criteria F that you guys can go through.
you see, I'm looking at this and it's an and provide direction.
So I do think that you might be my recommendation.
Okay. Got it. Okay.
Sort of.
Thank you. Okay, so that would be my recommendation that I would want to add to this.
And then I would say you need to make a finding that he demonstrated by clear and convincing evidence that he met the criteria.
Okay. To put an application in.
To put an application.
Okay.
Yeah, just to
Very specific.
just to submit the application,
Okay.
and then you reviewed zoning, and then make a recommendation.
Okay. So do you have any other recommendations you would want to add?
The only recommendation that I have is, this isn't for your comment.
I think everything's public, like you have
Well,
to say.
okay. It's okay. I was whispering. So my comments are this. If the annexation goes through and there is a movement, I think that we need to see a better use of pathways and safety for the kids. I think that there needs to be a huge traffic study done, and I'm going to support your claim on the R1 versus R2. I think that it should be R1, not R2.
Well,
I agree.
Thanks, Mel. I heard that one. Alec was saying that some of those things you just talked about would be better addressed during a building permit. Is that correct, Alec? Or
I think they should be addressed again at that time. I think that you guys are free to voice your recommendations
okay.
now.
All right. Great. Okay. All right. So do you want me to make a motion?
Yeah.
All right. I move that the Planning and Zoning Commission classify this proposal as a major annexation and authorize the Planning and Zoning Administrator to prepare Commission's written pre-petition review report, including the Commission's findings, recommendations, and comments regarding the requested zoning and its consistency with the master plan, the annexation classification, and any other direction provided this evening for submission to the Town Council on behalf of the Planning and Zoning Commission. And those recommendations would be that this proceeds as R1 rather than R2, and that special consideration is given to a robust traffic study and extensive studies of safety for the roads and pathways in this general vicinity.
And
And that we found that all submittals were filed, fees were paid. Am I missing anything there?
Yeah, just a general finding that the statements made and representations and evidence were true by clear and convincing evidence.
Okay. We have found that the statements made were clear. I am speaking into the mic. Okay. I forgot now what you told me to say.
Sorry. A finding that that all evidence given, statements made, and representations given tonight were true by clear and convincing evidence.
Okay. Can I summarize that? Or okay,
No, that's fine. You can just
yeah.
say
Okay.
I would just say yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you. Okay, that's my motion.
Second?
I'm just trying to follow it through.
Yeah.
Do we have a second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed?
All right.
Motion carries.
All right, and now
Yes.
I can make a motion to adjourn.
Yes, you can.
All right, I make a motion
Second.
to adjourn.
That's motion.
Do I have a second?
I second said motion. I'll second every time.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.